another one of our live stream attendees here in the community Minaj asked, I was wondering, watching one of your videos rather, on notation reading. Is it possible to read very tough notation considering interval techniques? Now, the answer to this is absolutely. In fact, that's what the interval techniques are used for. Not only learning the intervals when you're reading from left to right in a melody, but when you're reading complex things going up and down in harmony, it's useful as well. Let me show you a couple of quick examples. Okay, so all right, let me just write out, like, it's not going to be super complicated. Okay, so here we have our example. Now, just a warning, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to sound, just because I wrote it up as an example to illustrate a larger point. So let me get it in focus here to where we can mostly see what's happening. Okay, so you're looking at something like this and you're like, man, there is a lot going on there. Obviously, there's music out there where even a lot more goes on. So you can read intervals in two ways, more than two ways, but two basic ways: from left to right in a melodic sort of way, or up and down in a harmonic sort of way. So let me show you what I mean. So obviously I can be looking at the line of how the notes go. So see how you have a line of top notes, and this is very common in songs to have a top, what we call top voice, a couple of middle voices, and then a bottom voice, or soprano, alto, tenor, bass. There can be more than that. So anyway, you follow basically each line of melody like that. And I can see that, you know, here's a unison, and then up a major second, just like that. So I can read the notes like that in an interval, and that does help, you know, especially if you have one line of music at a time. Now, obviously, you can use the interval technique to read up and down as well. So you have like these two notes. If you know about my interval technique, you know that that's a fourth. And then you can even look, you know, obviously with the bass clef, you know, there's another fourth. And then you have a fifth right there. So just knowing that, I have a fifth on the bottom, a fourth right there, and then I have a fourth up there. That actually sounds pretty cool. Now, I read that a lot faster using intervals, and I like to use intervals like when I read notes from bottom to the top, though, at least. Okay, so as I was saying, you read the intervals from the bottom to the top, and just doing that, I can read them a lot faster. My knowledge of key signatures really helps as well, since I know where the sharps and flats are. Like I said, I didn't make this to sound pretty. Although that one sounds kind of cool. Okay, so that answers the question. The answer is absolutely that the interval technique comes in handy when doing this sort of thing with more complex patterns in music. And if you, if you want to learn more about that, check out the playlist I have about using the interval technique if you don't know about it already.